Guinta. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. Last week I was contacted by Frank's campaign and they asked if they could do a press conference here at New Hampshire Precision, surrounded by several other business owners discussing some provisions in the Obamacare bill that are just an abomination, hard to pun. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to Frank. He has some remarks for us, and we'll all be interested in hearing what he has to say about this.
Thank you very much, Mark. First, I want to thank Mark Poirier and New Hampshire Precision Metal for hosting this press conference, and I want to thank all of the business owners who are joining us here today. 6 months ago, the Obamacare legislation was enacted. We are at the 6-month anniversary today. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the provisions in this piece of legislation and how they negatively impact just not only people across the country, but small business owners right here in New Hampshire. We all know that New Hampshire has a small business base that is about 75% of our economy. We need to be supporting small business owners, and we need to be listening to our small business constituents about how we can create an environment where not only they prosper, but are able to grow and create jobs. The provision, Section 9006 in the Obamacare bill, is the provision that I would like to talk about today. This essentially requires any business owner who pays more than $600 in money to vendors, require them to file a 1099. There's a few significant problems with this with this provision in this piece of legislation. First of all, it continues this onerous impact of the federal government into the lives of small business. And I'm here to say that government needs to get out of the business of regulating our business owners. We've got to create environments where business can be successful and focus on what they do best, and that's create jobs. This provision requires every single person behind me right now, if they expend more than $600, to track down that vendor, file a 1099. It's invasive, it's overburdensome, it's additional regulatory requirements that has no positive benefit or impact to any small business here in New Hampshire or the country. Not only does Obamacare need to be repealed, but we need to start with provisions like this, articulate why exactly these are bad provisions for business, and ask the question to people like Carol Shea Porter, who supported this provision, who supported Obamacare, why they would vote for something that is so intrusive to our small business owners here in New Hampshire. One of the things that I find interesting is that when Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass this bill in order to know what's in it, these are the provisions that they were talking about. They passed a bill, they didn't know what was in it, they didn't know how it was going to negatively impact business owners in New Hampshire. Carol Shea Porter blindly followed Nancy Pelosi in supporting this legislation. I'd remind people that she didn't come back to New Hampshire to talk with constituents before she voted for this bill. She proudly held her many town hall meetings after she supported and voted for this piece of legislation, and then tried to tell people in New Hampshire why this was good public policy for us. You know, being a representative in Washington to people in New Hampshire is about talking with people in New Hampshire, asking them their opinion on 4 pieces of legislation, trying to determine what it is that the electorate, the business community would like in terms of representation, and then ensuring that we represent people to the best of our ability. In this circumstance, Carol Shea Porter has failed the business community. She is supporting a very onerous piece of legislation that is going to do nothing to enhance and augment small business owners' opportunity to succeed, to grow their businesses, and to grow local economies. So I stand before you today with our small business owners here saying, let's repeal Obamacare, let's repeal this provision, let's finally get behind small business owners who are the backbone of our economy,